Hi, I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. As I have previously mentioned, the normal version of this dungeon is one of my favourites in the entire game. What the f*** happened? We get rid of one evil and suddenly there's another evil. Wow, such shock, much Pikachu face. There is so much to mention about this dungeon. Anyone got an energy drink? This is gonna take a while. Time to learn about the Lost City of Amdapor hard. Simplified. Turn left while heading down the stairs. Pull the beetle and continue to the bottom of the stairs as you reach the wall of eggs. Quickly destroy the wall and pull the trio of crawlers on the other side of the wall. Kill everything and the door will open where two gremlins will attack. At points along this massive pull, the gremlins will target players with a debuff Misery. This debuff cannot be Asuned. The only way to dispel this debuff is to use the comfort emote while targeting that person. Pull everything all the way down the narrow ramps until you get to the bottom to the wall of unfortunate eggs. As you attack the wall, butterflies will spawn in. Kill everything while avoiding the AoEs thrown out by the mobs. After the first wall breaks, there'll be a second wall behind it, and as you start attacking that wall, more butterflies will swoop down. Kill all of the butterflies, and it's first boss time. The boss will cast the move Neuro Squarmer. This is a room-wide AoE that will change the arena into a hazier tone. It will also create a shadow clone of your character in the exact location and direction that you are looking. These clones will perform large conal AoEs in the direction they are facing. The easiest way to solve this is to turn your character away from the boss when the cast is about to finish. The conal AoE will be pointing towards the wall instead of the rest of your party. If you do get hit with one of these AoEs, it will give you a vuln stack. One person in the party will be targeted with crosshairs. A poisonous gas cloud will spawn in and tether to this character. If the cloud touches any player, it will explode in a small AoE, give the player a vuln stack, and leave a poison puddle on the ground which will give you the pollen debuff as long as you're standing in it. If you run away and avoid the cloud for a short time, the cloud will dissipate instead. After the second set of conal AoEs from the clones, they will disappear and the arena will return to normal. The boss can turn to random party members and cast Psycho Squammer, which is also a large conal AoE. The boss will repeat mechanics until it is defeated. Head through to the next area. As you spawn into the next area, you will see the same stairs and platforms from the normal mode of this dungeon with a few spotlights on the right side of each platform. The mobs during the subsequent pull must be ginger because they really hate the sunlight. When you pull the mobs into the light, they will gain the debuffs of damage down, slow, and vulnerability up. This will make the enemies much easier to kill. First up is a Rift Dragon. It will cast a conal AoE called Evil Eye, which is also a staring contest. Just look away from the dragon if you're going to be in the AoE, or else you'll be hit with the debuff of Terror for a few seconds. Kill the dragon and the ramp will be created for you to continue. Pull the next group and continue down the stairs. When you get to the bottom of those stairs, aggro that group and pull everything into the light. Watch out for the Void Monk's Water 3 AoE. The cast is interruptible if you don't want to deal with it. Kill everything and another ramp will be created. Kill the next group in the spotlight and another Rift Dragon will spawn in. Kill the Rift Dragon, the door will open, and it's second boss time. Walk forward and the statue will turn into the boss. We shall now be playing the part of Thancred from that one part of the Shadowbringers trailer. There will be these light orbs inside of circles at random points on the ground. If you do not run into these to soak the damage, they will explode in a room-wide AoE. Ancient Arrow is a large AoE below a random player. Ancient Stone are small AoEs below random players. Just move out of these AoEs to avoid them. In the middle of where that AoE was will be a circle with an orb of the elemental equivalent of what the AoE was. Wind Orb for Arrow, Earth Orb for Stone. You can walk into these circles to absorb the damage for the party. If you don't soak the Earth Orb, it will target a random point of the arena in a single target attack. If you don't soak the Wind Orb, it will explode at a large point blank AoE from where the orb was located. When the boss casts Ancient Holy, it will jump up and hover in the air. An Arcane Sphere will spawn underneath it. It doesn't have a lot of health. If you ignore the Arcane Sphere, you will definitely wipe. Once the sphere is destroyed, a room-wide AoE will go out and the boss will return to the fight. The boss will cast Ancient Libra. There will be two debuffs that you could possibly get. Two players will get Earth Resistance down 2, and two players will get Wind Resistance down 2. The boss will then either cast Ancient Arrow or Ancient Stone, which you will need to avoid. To absorb the effects of the Elemental Orb that will spawn from these AoEs, you will need to be the opposite debuff. So if you have Wind Resistance down, you can take the Earth Orb, but you cannot take the Wind Orb. And if you have Earth Resistance down, you can take the Wind Orb, but you cannot take the Earth Orb. If you ignore the orbs and they perform their subsequent AoEs, or you take the same element as your debuff, they could severely damage you or even one-shot you if you have Resistance down and you don't have decent gear. The next time the boss will hover in the air, two extra mobs will spawn in that don't have a lot of health and can easily be defeated. From here, the boss will repeat mechanics until it has been defeated. Interact with the Stone of Transference to be teleported to the next area. As you get close to the platform, two statues will turn into clay beasts. The beast will cast a wide conal AoE called Wild Horn. Also pick up the light sprite that is wandering around this area. Watch out for if the light sprite performs the interruptible cast of Banish 3. Avoid the AoEs, kill everything, and the stairs will magically rise into place. The next platform has a light sprite and three statues that will turn into robot idols. The idols will cast point blank AoEs called Neck Splitter. Avoid the AoE AoEs, kill everything, and the stairs will magically rise into place. The next platform has a light sprite and 3 statues which will turn into pots. The pots will target random party members with the cast Double Ray. They will also have a look away mechanic called Mysterious Light. If you get caught looking at this, it will inflict you with a blind debuff that will lower your accuracy for 15 seconds. Kill everything, head up the newly formed staircase, and it's final boss time. This boss relies a lot on self-healing, so if you do mechanics correctly, this fight can go very quickly. The boss will start the fight with 2 stacks of the buff Seed of Life, which means that this boss effectively has 3 lives. Glory is a huge conal cleave directed towards the tank. When she casts the move Regen, it will leave a puddle on the ground. If the boss's hitbox is within this puddle, it will heal her for about 1.5 to 2% of her max health for every tick she is in this circle. Just move her out of the circle to stop the regen. She will teleport to a point in the arena and cast Cure 4. This will have a patterned circle beneath her with 4 small beams rising out of it. The more beams that are lit up in the circle when the cast finishes, the more she will heal for. Every player who stands in this circle will stop one of the beams. If the whole party stands in the circle, it stops her from healing entirely. When she casts Cure 3, she will regenerate about 11% of her total health. This is the only move that she does that can be stunned. When you defeat her for the first time, she will come back to life and have the debuffs Reverse, which will change the effects of some moves she does, and Evolve Down, which will reduce her damage taken. Regen is now a dark circle that will give a bleeding debuff to any player who is standing in it, but it will still heal the boss. Again, drag the boss out of the circle to stop the healing. Cure 4 is now a proximity AoE directed from underneath her. Get away from this to reduce the damage to you. Cure 3 is now a large point-blank AoE focused on several players, spread out to avoid overlapping them. Once you kill her for a second time, she will combine some of the effects of her first and second lives and gain another stack of vulnerability down. Watch for if she changes the aura around herself. If she is normal, she is doing mechanics from her first life. If she is glowing red, she is doing mechanics from her second life. She can also bring her sword in front of her and cast Decoy. The high Decoy ad will tether to the boss and give her a stack of regen every few seconds. The low Decoy ad will tether to a player and give them healing potency down and a stack of bleeding every few seconds. This ad can be passed around as it will also give the tethered player the debuff Prey. If you run through another party member, they will take the tether from you. The low Decoy ad is also affected by the bleeding debuff circle. Both ads do not have a lot of health, so they can be burned down quickly. The boss will repeat mechanics until it is defeated. Congratulations, you have beaten the Lost City of Amdapor again. My name is a Scrub. Thank you for watching.